It's gonna be long, my blood draws at 10:20.
All right, okay.
Yeah, just so you know, if I get up and leave, it's because my blood draws at 10:20.
Good morning, everyone. I call this meeting of May 19th, 2026 to order. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Our consent agenda. It includes 15 items. It was published and copies are available. If you'd like to discuss an item, it'll be moved to the regular agenda and comments can be made at that time.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Siddle.
I move to approve the consent agenda and authorize the chair to sign documents as required.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 is to consider the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda as published.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Item 4 is announcements. Just a reminder to folks that the courthouse will be closed Monday, May 25th in observance of Memorial Day. Do we have any other announcements? No? Okay. Public comments on matters not on the agenda. Do we have anything not on the agenda? Okay. Right, moving right along. Item 6 is consideration of a closure of Johnson Street in Bighorn for Saturday, June 20th, 2026, between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. for festivities at the Last Chance Bar. And I'm going to ask Jessica Winter, the owner of the Last Chance, to come up. Is she here? Oh, no? No. Okay. All right. Do we have any questions about this closure from 10 to 4? I would look for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to approve the closure of Johnson Street in Bighorn on Saturday, June 20th, 2026, between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. for festivities at Last Chance Bar.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item 7 is consideration of fiscal year 25-26 budget amendment 3. And I'll call on Clerk Thompson, our county budget officer.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairwoman Haswell and Board. You will find at your seat today a substitute resolution. I did find a typo on number 2 towards the bottom, so I highlighted that in yellow. So I've been asking for your consideration for budget amendment number 3 to cover unexpected revenues for capital facilities tax fund. You'll see the account number there on the resolution and the amount of money, the $1,566,995, which was not part of the original submitted budget. Therefore, we're adding those additional revenues. Number 2, expenditures. This is where the typo was. Instead of saying GPET 1% optional tax, which that is truly the expense, I had retained IT, which was the last budget amendment. So I just have in front of you corrected just the wording. The account numbers and the amounts are correct. So the expenditures on the substitute resolution in front of you that says GPET 1% optional tax is correct. To increase that account, to show in that account the expenditure increase in the amount of $150,000. And as you will remember, this was additional funding requested to modernize the Fulmer Library's elevator system, approved by you, the board, on April 6, 2026. So those are the 2 changes for the budget for budget amendment 3.
This does require a public hearing, and I'll open that at 9:04. Do you have any comments from the public on the budget amendment?
I just think it's the most expensive.
So Barbara, I'm sorry, you have to go to the podium and give your name, just to make it official. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure enough. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Barbara Hill, Precinct 4-4. I think it's the most expensive elevator I'll ever ride in my life.
Thank you for your comments, Barbara. No, those elevators are a bugger. Ay, ay. All right. Any other public comments? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing at 9:05. And I would look for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Settle.
I move to approve and adopt resolution number 26-05-049.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item 8 is consideration of resolution 26-05-050, Board of County Commissioners rescheduled meetings, and I'll call on Clerk Thompson again.
Good morning, Chairman Beagle and Board of County Commissioners. In front of you today for your consideration is Resolution 26-05-050. Board of County Commissioners rescheduled meetings. You currently have a resolution in place that was adopted in 2013 that established board meetings as the first and third Tuesday of each month as the regular board meetings. In addition to that, the primary and general election dates also conflict with the first and third Tuesdays. One date in August is in conflict and one date in November. On top of that, it has been determined by our security board, who reviews everything with me, that we do need to use the boardroom for part of election processes on election day. We're sort of out of room here at the courthouse, and so I do need the boardroom for that. With that in mind, I'm asking the board to consider this resolution by simply moving the regularly scheduled board meeting from Tuesday, August 18th to the next day, Wednesday, August 19th. And then again, from Tuesday, November 4th to Wednesday, November 5th. And this is simply due to the conflict of scheduling with the primary and the general election and meeting the board. So that is my ask today.
Okay, any other questions? Right, hearing none, I'd look for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Jennings.
I move to adopt and authorize the chair to sign resolution 26-05-050, Board of County Commissioners rescheduled meetings.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item 9 is to consider the grant agreement, between Wyoming Office of State Lands and Investments in Sheridan County. Clerk Thompson.
Thank you. Madam Chairwoman Haswell and Board of Commissioners. When I first heard about this grant, it's rather interesting how this particular law was reviewed and how it went down at the legislature. It is a current law that is currently in place where the county clerk shall submit data to the State Homeland Security Office every time there's a conveyance of land. Every time there is a conveyance of land. What has come to the attention of the state office and the county clerks is that the state office program that receives all of our data is not able to receive our images. The county clerks have a couple of different programs that receive in every single legal description, whether it's township and range, the name of the subdivision, or whether it's incorporated within a town or out in the county, if it's platted in the county, incorporated within the town. Those legal descriptions are not always able to be abstracted as written when the document comes through my office. Sometimes the legal description is simply not Town of Lador, Block 5, Northeast quarter, the Northeast quarter, whatever. It's not always township, range, section, acreage. It can be meets and bounds. which is a very long paragraph that has to be mapped out by GIS. It can be written in such a way that it could be written in degrees. Again, the county clerk would then, in those situations, say, Town of Lador, C record. Because we're not able to simply mark on a chart where those lands may or may not be. So there are times and instances when the county clerk cannot index all the way down to the actual 40 acres, within that 40 acres, where that needs to be marked. And it is perfectly legit and correct for the county clerk to then say C record. Well, come to find out, the state board, the state agency, is not able to see record because they did not use a program that accepts images. So they cannot see the record or understand where this land is. In speaking further with the state office, well, the program they did use matches the assessor's office. It is the same program that our assessor uses and the Department of Revenue. And looking at the statutory duties of the county clerk and the county assessor, this grant is for use for the county clerk to improve technology changes so that the state does not have to see the record, interpret the record, look at the record, or place it on a map. I am not able to do that, nor is it within my statutory duty to do that. It is the assessor's job in the Department of Revenue to then interpret those documents. My job as county clerk within the purview of my statutory duties is to determine if that document is recordable. And if the legal description, such as Town of Lador, Block 4, is actually a Sheridan County legal description. If it is, then it is my duty to record it and to put it of record. It is not my duty to map it, to interpret it, or to then determine if ownership has passed. In other words, chain of title. Chain of title is determined by your attorneys that come in and work in my office, by your title companies that come in and work in my office, and by your assessor. So this agreement, which is actually considered as a grant, has a stipulation. And the reason I'm taking the time to explain this is part of the stipulation in order for our county to receive these monies split equally between all 23 counties, which would amount to $10,000, $10,869.56 split equally between all the counties. We would only receive this money if I'm able to submit a proposal outlining all my requested technology changes and they approve them. We still, as a county, have to submit that list, how we're going to change our programming, how we're going to change our IT capabilities. They have to approve that list. We have to pay for everything up front, and then they would refund us our costs. I'm here to share with you today that after speaking more as the county clerks with the state office, there's a lack of understanding when this bill passed at the state of what the clerk's duties are and what the assessors duties are. And I am not able to comply with this, and I ask that you do not accept this contract. I'm not going to be able to fulfill a request that's going to even allow us to get this money. I don't think this is the fix they're needing, and I wish the state would keep this money and use it for their own benefit to upgrade their system so they could accept our images and then be able to determine ownership by looking at the actual image versus any changes on it. Sorry, that's a long explanation. Did that make sense? I think it did.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
In essence, we're asking you to make a no on this grant. We did not apply for the grant. This is a document that the slip board sent to us. And it ties the hands of the clerk. So until this gets straightened out the legislative level, we are asking you to vote no.
Any other questions? If not, I would look for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner. Great.
move to approve and authorize the chair to sign the grant agreement between Wyoming Office of State Lands and
and investments in Sheridan County.
Second that for discussion.
Okay. Well, I will, definitely defer to your expertise and your office, Ida, and statute, so not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Mike, did you have something to add?
Yeah, it's almost sounds, what I'm hearing from testimony that this is not thought out well. And I wouldn't be in favor of voting for something that we can't see and we need to know what the cost is gonna cost the counties totally before, and who's gonna pay for it. So I'll be a no vote on this one.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion fails. Item 10, consider formal objection letter to the proposed replacement of parts of Brundage Lane, Coffin Avenue, Center Lane with concrete median barriers. I'll call on Commissioner Jennings.
Madam Chair, thank you. This letter is letter of objection. I've talked to so many different citizens in this community, and there's so many concerns with this project. I do want to take a moment to thank Scott Taylor from YDOT and his crew. You guys have worked hard to listen to those objections and make changes. This is not a letter of objection against YDOT. YDOT does an amazing job. This is a letter of objection against this particular portion of the project, not even all of the project. Certainly, I believe we need the mill and overlay. But as I've read through the, I can't remember the name of the company that did the report right now, but thank you. I could think of was Entech. That's not the right name. The Stantec report, there's a lot of different things that I think really push me to say this is not the right answer for our community. So this letter is simply a statement of position. It's not a regulatory document. We all know that letters of support or objection, they don't have any law behind them. They are, hey, this is how we feel. This is how we're representing our community. So with that, questions if there are.
I will open this. We have quite a few folks, and it looks like Ms. Kaylee, you're supposed to go first. Thank you. Good morning. Can everyone hear me? Sorry, this microphone's a bit of a challenge. Chairwoman Haswell and Commissioners, thank you so much for allowing us to speak on this issue.
There we go.
Yep. Thank you very much. My name is Carla Cayley. I'm a resident, property owner, and business owner of Sheridan County. And I'm here to offer our support for the opposition letter that we understand the commission is preparing. You've heard me speak on this issue before. We believe the concrete median barriers will be substantially disruptive and cause harm to our community in excess of the value or benefit that they're purported to offer. We support the idea of slowing the project down, involving the community more, maybe having a stakeholder working group to talk about alternatives that we feel could address any safety issues that would be less disruptive and more supportive of the community's goals of remaining financially whole, attractive to visitors, and to support the quality of life we have here in Sheridan County. We specifically want to revisit the data and the safety issues and look at less costly and less disruptive opportunities for solving the particular problems that YDOT has addressed and Stantec has outlined. We support this particular corridor supports the quality of life in the entire county. Goods and services go through here. Visitors enjoy those goods and services, and it supports what we do here. Without that, the quality of life can be compromised here in the county. The report itself is very difficult. Most members of the community have not had an opportunity to read through that report, particularly the business community or property owners. The report takes 3 reams of paper to print. It's only online. Most of the pages are in color. Understandably, they're very important color diagrams that need to be looked at. Your average person would take 3 reams of paper to print and an entire cartridge from a home office computer or printer. So to give you an idea on the volume, it's an important document. It has a lot of good information, but it warrants further attention, and the public needs an opportunity to review that. It is only online, and if you want to have it printed at a local printer, it'll cost you about $700. It's 67 cents a page. We know because we researched it. So it's very difficult, and I would say most of the members of the community have not had an opportunity to read this document, and we appreciate the letter of support that would allow us to work with YDOT to have more public input. A couple of the details from this report, just so that you know, because it is difficult to read. You've heard in many occasions that there's 20,000 average daily vehicles. That's one representation of data that can be interpreted in a number of ways, but I can tell you right out of the Stantec report, the average annual daily vehicle that are traveling on those corridors is 12,777. Now, by definition, in the Stantec report, YDOT says 24,000 would be the minimum. 24,000 vehicles on an annual basis daily would be the minimum to even consider concrete barriers. We're less than half of that. And if you go with the projections that you find in the report, which project out to the year 2042, we still don't make that mark. The only place along the entire corridor that might come close would be Avoca and Coffeen. So that would be something we could look at. I can tell you we have high density multifamily housing at that particular intersection. So we might want to be looking at how we do our land use planning. Now on page 16, it also says in the report that we are nowhere near that minimum for consideration, not the guarantee of, but the consideration of using concrete center medians to address a safety issue. On page 58 of the report, it says corridor-wide signal clearance rates, traffic light timing were inadequate. The report says none of the signals along the entire corridor, and this report, by the way, was done in 2023, none of the signals were timed correctly. So the recommendation for Stantec was to address the signal timing. Here's why it matters. More than half of the reported accidents are not attributed to road construction. We have driving under the influence, we have excessive speed, we have animal strikes, weather conditions. So more than half of the accidents that were considered in this document don't apply to the construction of the road. And if you take a look at what Stantec has said, if you just address the traffic light timing, you could potentially reduce the amount of accidents by 50%. So, and that alone would put us in a category where it's really not a safety problem. Less than one accident, 0.75 on a monthly basis over the last 10 years. We are currently reviewing, we have requested the data from the city and from YDOT to review this data to help YDOT come up with solutions that might address the safety issue. If you look at the corridor, which is 2.5 miles, that's north-south on Coffeen, east-west on Brundage, 2.5 miles is the amount of distance you're talking about. That's over that entire corridor, less than a fraction of an accident. So we really need to take a look at that accident data and make sure we're understanding what's there. If you do in concrete median barriers, you will have to maintain them, and that will be the city and the county's responsibility for snow removal and what have you. You will end up, by conservative estimates, with around 7 to 10 linear miles of curbs and gutters that are going to be subject to vehicle strikes, snow equipment removal, and then general maintenance and repair. And not even considering that they'll be 14 to 15 feet wide, and you're going to have the weed control issue. As we understand it, you cannot plow snow on these, so you will have additional snow plowing considerations and freeze-thaw concerns from that. The last thing that I want to mention is Stantec recognizes in their report that the YDOT staff have used for producing their summary report that they're a suggested alternative, but not necessarily a necessary. And there are alternatives to address the safety issues, and they could be implemented sequentially. Something less conservative initially, maybe over time. It does not appear, based on the projections, that we would come anywhere close to the minimum standards for requiring barriers until sometime after 2042. Maybe we should look at something more conservative that doesn't create harm for the community. And they also mentioned on page 51 in the Stantec report that they understand there were significant maintenance costs associated with any of these alternatives. So we definitely support, and I'll lend the rest of my time, whatever that is, to our group here, that we don't want to share their experiences with you. We need more time. We believe the barriers are not the answer. There are alternatives, even nested within this report, that should be considered and possibly implemented before we go to something so serious that it could damage our community. Thank you for your time today. Thank you. Mr. Hall?
I'm Dick Hall, former owner of the Buggy Bath. Hello, commissioners and
Morning.
audience. In the last 10 years, the highway department shows that there was one accident in front of Buggy Bath. That accident was caused by a medical condition. The fellow had a seizure. So that's a pretty good record for all the cars that come and go out of Buggy Bath. On a busy day, there could be 400 cars coming and going. Buggy Bath has 361 foot of frontage. They have 5 35-foot wide driveways. The current highway allows for the turning lane. So someone with a trailer or car or whatever, they can get in that left turn lane and sit there for a second and then go, which is very accommodating. Vehicles with trailers and whatnot are able to have a straight shot through the car wash. Whereas if it's just from one lane going north on Coffeen, a trailer is gonna swing out wide when you turn. So it makes it hard for them to enter the car wash. The other thing, if someone, I haven't seen the actual design of the center divider, but I know this, if someone goes past Brundage Lane on Coffeen heading south, decides they need to turn around, the natural thing to look for is to your left. If you're going to turn around, make a U-turn. So you're looking to the left, you go by 6 streets, I believe, that all say no outlet. You go clear down to the college. Well, that's a logical place. I mean, they got a road to go in. You go in through the college, which is kind of tricky, but you can go right through the college with your truck or car or whatever, then come back north. There's one road behind the Starbucks shopping area that'll take you back around. And it takes about 6 minutes to go around on that. You have to wait for traffic, etc. So I just think the current way Coffeen is with the turning lane and accommodates a lot of different things. And it seems to be working. We should keep. Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick? You good? Okay. Derek Hall?
Morning, my name is Derek Hall. I'm the current owner of Buggy Bath, and I'll raise some concerns that I've thought of that haven't been brought forth so far. Medians are going to substantially shift the burden of traffic onto private lots and potential traffic conflicts onto private lots. So one of their proposals is, say you're trying to access the shops by Alberson. So Verizon, there's a number of shops there. The response from WYDOT is if you're traveling south, you should make a left turn to the road between Walmart and Albertsons and then traverse through the parking lot of Albertsons. And which means that traffic is also then going to be turning across traffic on the north, trying to turn into Albertsons to access those shops. To me, that seems like we're leading to more conflicts of vehicles with pedestrians. I think Thursday is at Albertsons Senior Citizen Day. We've got children and families. Parking lots are not the spot where you want traffic. Additionally, so our lot on Coffeen at the car wash there, their new proposal, updated proposal, would allow for one left-hand turn that would access part of our private property and allow people to make a left turn to get to the pizza place, Little Caesars, payday loans, whatever. The problem is now anyone traveling south, if they want to access that lot, they're now traversing through private property. That's where we put our snow in the wintertime. There's nothing that says, I mean, we could completely block that off and not allow traffic to traverse through there. And those shops would not have any access from traffic traveling south on Coffee unless they were going way down and around. Additionally, now I'm going to be forced to pay for all the maintenance and upkeep of that traffic traveling through my private lot. Another example of a location like this is, so again, if you're traveling south on Coffee and you want to make a left turn to access Ace Hardware, there's I forget if it's T-Mobile, those lots, they said that you should take, I believe it's Sugarland, go behind Perkins by the old Holly Sugar building there. That's not a city, again, that's a private road. That's not a city road. And if you're planning on putting traffic there, it's not a good plan because again, that roadway could go away. The other concern I have is pedestrian impacts. We're all familiar with the little narrow medians up on North Main by the hotel there. I've seen a lot of people playing Frogger there.
Yeah.
Those are tiny medians. Think about that going on in Coffeen, where the medians are much more substantial. You're going to have people jaywalking, stopping in the median, thinking it's a safe spot, and then going across. The medians do not address any pedestrian access concerns. And I would argue are going to make for more dangerous interactions. So those are some concerns I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Davidson?
I'm Dan Davidson. I'm a retired business owner in Sheridan. I was going to touch on the safety issues that they were talking about.
Get right into that microphone. Sorry about that. Perfect, thank you.
Okay. I was going to touch on those same safety issues. I wonder how many documents that are high of the documents they've talked about to address accidents that are going to happen when they divert traffic from being into parking lots and into residential areas. I want to touch on that. First meeting I went to, the highway department informed us that they were going to implement these barriers regardless of public input. So I hope that we're not all wasting our time here today. The last meeting I went to, they talked about the safety issues, and they also informed us there that the reason that us citizens were against this project was that we had to be educated. So that's something that just rubbed me the wrong way. I'd like to ask the commissioners to encourage YDOT to work with us taxpayers to come up with a more common sense, cost-effective way to improve the few issues that are on the street. And I would like to ask them to, I'd like the commissioners to ask YDOT to leave their big city ideas where they belong. And, that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Ronnie, I saw him earlier. I had to sneak out, huh? Mr. Winders? Dave Winders?
Winders, but
Winders, sorry.
yeah, 50%. Right. I've used to that my whole life. A resident of Sheridan County, and I'm a user of these roads.
And
Okay.
try to use that microphone. Sometimes it's hard for folks in the back to hear.
It's a hit me. I'm a user of the county roads, okay? And that to me is what a lot of this comes down to. They had a study done, and I'm sure these trained, educated traffic engineers, which that's fine, it looked great on paper. But like too many things in our world, they don't ask the people who use a product or road or whatever, how does it work? They need to get out and drive it. You all do, I'm sure. I find myself over the past several months as I'm driving around, I try to envision these barriers they're gonna put up and how they're gonna affect how I'm navigating. And I use that center lane, turn lane, or whatever you want to call it. I call it an access lane. I use it all the time in both directions, either exiting a facility or entering a facility. And I think it makes our system a lot safer. I've lived in big cities, seen all the barriers, everything else. And all I see is they put these barriers in, that accident rate is going to go up because somebody's passed into their trailer or truck or whatever is be sticking out on the road, or traffic's going to back up. So I just asked, and then going back to something that Dan Davison said, their comments about we're not trained, okay? There are trained engineers, which in this world, our modern world, have designed cars in the past 20 years that you have to literally take the engine out of the car, lift it up out of the car to change the spark plug, okay? And are these guys about the same thing? I'm sure it looks great on their tabletop or on a whiteboard, but the real world use, that's what I'm looking at. And I hope that you all can get YDOT, whether it be the local guys or whatever, to re-examine that. But as far as I'm concerned, repave the road, leave the rest of the system the way it is. It works. If, as Carla says, there's like less than one accident a month with that much traffic, you haven't got a problem. That's it.
I saw Mr. LeBlanc sneak back in. All right, we have about 2, 3, 4 more folks to go after you, Mr. LeBlanc.
Thank you, Chairwoman Haswell. I appreciate that. Sorry I was called away. I apologize to the board. You know, regarding this median here, it looks to me like we're going to take a 5-lane and squeeze it down to a 4-lane and call it improvement. And so that sort of defies logic. Initially, when I looked at their preliminary plans about, I don't know, a year ago or so, they were relying on 4 years worth of data to prove their points about the accident ratio. And so the last time we had a meeting, Chairwoman Haswell, they are now relying on 10 years worth of data. So in the medical community, we call that manipulation of data to prove your point. That's kind of shaky. And I just want to share that with my friends on the county commission here. This does not affect me as a business owner. I'm a small business owner. It doesn't affect me at all. But my heart breaks for the business owners it will affect. And I will say this, reduced business for them is going to result in decreased revenue for them, which is going to result in decreased taxes for the county commission to operate with. And so I think that you guys would be in agreement with that right there. Finally, increased citizens costs could occur because of this, because of expensive litigation that may be pursued. We don't want that, you know, and so having the citizens have additional costs because of something that we're relying on elected officials, that would not be a good thing, I don't think. And so my final thing right here, respectfully, I would urge the elected officials in this room to unanimously issue an objection to this median. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Stussy?
Also a user and of the roads, so I'm in support of the letter against the concrete barriers. They didn't seem to take into consideration the delivery trucks, semi trucks and stuff that go into the tire shops and to Napa, those places. With this barrier, they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to go clear down around somewhere with a semi truck and turn around to get back into the lane to get into there. And same thing with the tire truck. It'll pull out into the road and then back up to unload the tires and all. They won't be able to do that with the concrete barriers in the way. And for snow removal, we put the snow in the middle and then they can get it out when they get to it. Well, where are we going to put the snow now? We're going to go from 5, not even to 4. It'll be less than that. And so I'm of the mind, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's been this way and they've way overstated the collisions and that type of thing. but they just really haven't looked at the delivery issue to a lot of these places. I talked to them there at Napa, and they don't know what the heck they're gonna do, how that's gonna work. And I don't think the state has really considered that. The state's own charter says that they're supposed to consider the wishes of the people before doing stuff like this. And when they come up and say they're just gonna do it whether we want it or not, I don't like that. I don't think that's right. Also, there's several other cities that they've done this to, is my understanding. And the very next year, the city took it all back out. So I wish I knew the names of those. Someone was telling me the names of these cities that are over the other side of the mountain, but I just don't want to be one of those cities that we have to go back in there and take out all the barriers. I just wish they would listen to the wishes of the people. And this is just a small sampling, but there's a whole lot of people that just flat don't want this thing. What about when we have all the tourists and stuff in the rodeo season, you know, all that traffic with horse trailers and everything? It's just going to be a nightmare. And the rear end collisions is going to go up because people are going to try to turn where they can't turn, and are going to be rear end collisions. So I think it's a safety issue as well. So I'm in support of a letter of opposition to what the state has planned. Thank you.
Ms. Brits?
I thought I was signing in and I didn't know I was speaking.
Oh, you don't have to.
No, that's okay. Tamara Britz, and we have a small manufacturing company right behind Midway, the campers. We have trucks, trailers. We're getting big trucks, semis in with steel 3 to 4 times a week. And they're gonna tear those medians up. That's why I'm here, is to listen what's going on, because they're gonna wreck those. If they can get in, they may not be able to. And that's important to us, to be able to get that steel in there along with getting our product out. So I just want to reiterate what everybody else is saying, is this is a big concern, especially for us to get our semis in and out of there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bauman, did I say that right?
Thank you, commissioners, for listening to all these people. A lot of them don't know what I did in my past. You all recall Main Street, what you see today. 25, 30 years ago, I worked with Main Street. I was the director of Downtown Sheridan Association, with along about 4 or 5 of them board members. We made what we did with the Main Street at that time. Did we have objection? Tremendous amount of objection. People objected to that, no avail. We finally went ahead and made it happen. We did a lot of meetings with the state to start out with the highway department. The first thing we talked to was a guy that said, yeah, he liked the idea, he's going to see what he can do. And later on, we found out he wasn't here anymore. They transferred him to Cheyenne. We thought, man, everything we talked to him was going to be lost, but it wasn't. He put it all in motion. He put all the funding and everything in motion to happen. So we knew it was going to happen. After that, we worked with some more engineers from the highway department. They were wonderful to work with. Things that we didn't like and things we liked, they worked with us 100% to make what your Main Street is today. So I think a lot of people don't realize what happened through that whole lifetime, and I put a lot of effort into that work. Many hours I spent in many meetings, and it's hard for me to be in front of a meeting because I'm not used to it anymore like it used to be. So I enjoyed doing it, and I hope that they consider this Coffeen Avenue, because I own property on Coffeen Avenue. I have the property between Buggy Bath Car Wash and the Firestone Tire Store. I own that in there, and there's a street in there that's been called Werco for years, way before anything on the west side ever got developed. Why they made the street crooked out there like they did, I don't know. Someplace there was some planning commissioners that really goofed when they planned that whole area out there, which should have been straight of a street out there than what it is today. I had a renter that's out there in Coffee now that just moved out. Lucky enough, had another building he moved to way out by the Forest Service building out there is where he moved his whole construction company. Because he said with my big trucks and my big trailers, that was never going to work for me. So he was looking for a place to go and he moved. So I've got a building that's empty now just because somebody moved out because they said they couldn't make that work on the street anymore with a big long trailer and truck anymore. All of you talked about it, how that would affect business and how it affected a lot. And when we got to stop and think, when I go back to Main Street again, look at one time, we had 12 empty buildings on Main Street. We hardly have anything anymore. They're all businesses making money. They're making money for their county. They're making money for the city. They're making money for the state. Do we want to do the same thing on Coffee, cut it off and not make that money? I think we need to continue doing what the Main Street was. The median strip, I have traveled the country a long time. Steve Brantz asked me today, he said, how come you never run for county commissioner? I said, I'll tell you why. Because I said I didn't run for it because I enjoyed seeing the country and the world. So every winter we traveled, so I never got to be able to do that. And I said, that's one of the reasons I never run for the council the same way. I was asked many times to be in those positions, but I never did because I enjoyed what I did and I don't regret it to this day. I appreciate you people that take your time to be in these positions. I know they're time consuming and you have family and stuff. It is tough to be in these positions. So I hope that the median strip doesn't happen. I've seen them in other towns. I've seen them plant trees in the middle, grow up and grow over the highway. And I drive a motorhome. Many times I can see that sucker's way too low, the branches out there. And guess what goes across my motorhome? Starts tearing my antenna off and my air conditioner covers. And I finally have to turn over. And next thing there's somebody beside me blowing his horn because I couldn't see him. And then I could cause an accident, see? So there's things that median strip that is not feasible. I don't care what you do with it. There's a lot of towns that have torn them out. And I think there's a lot of towns that wish they'd have never had them to begin with. So they're a safety hazard, period. Consider them. And I think I haven't been around all winter long. My son has been here, but he's not here today. And he's the one that's doing all my rentals that I have in town. And he's going to continue doing it forever. And he objected to a lot with the city meetings we had. And so he wasn't able to make it here today. So I said, I try to do what I can and speak what I had seen through all my lifetime. I moved here in 1962 and I've seen a hell of a lot of changes in this town. And so have a lot of you older folks the same way. And I love the lifestyle we have today. Big city, why does everybody want to move here? Because they're tired of what happens in the big cities.
Mr. Bowman, I'm going to give you another minute, one more minute.
Thank you.
All right. We have a Mr. Lundberg.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning.
John Lundberg, I own Bighorn Trading, right in between Firestone Dealer. It's actually in Wayne's building. And we have several more construction company, Battlestar Services. Drove in there and out of there a lot. There is a storage facility there that they rent out. They get trucks in there regularly. I'm also a former commercial truck driver. And the proposed medians would make access very difficult for many businesses to receive shipping and materials, particularly, as it was mentioned, if they were going southbound on Coffeen, that if you haven't driven a truck, you'll find that the best way to back up is if you can pull up and look in your left side rearview mirror and make a left-hand turn into the facility. Now, if they put a median in this Coffeen, it's going to make it virtually impossible. It won't be impossible. You can do it. But what happens is that a trucker has to look through his right turn mirror. He cannot see everything that's behind him. And he's got to make a blind turn into a parking lot to back into the truck to be able to properly unload it at a facility. This becomes problematical because I think it invites many more accidents. It also invites the fact that the truck has to obstruct the flow of traffic on Caffeine in the remaining 2 lanes in order to get his truck in the wrong way. Or at least the least easy way and the most difficult and more possible for collisions. This is a commercial street. It's not a residential street. It does not need medians. The other aspect is if a truck is going into the left-hand lane heading south or either right or left. If a truck pulls into a turning lane cut into the median, and there's any other cars that need to make that turn, they will be obstructing the flow of traffic as well, because they will be stalled behind the trucker who's waiting for all the other traffic to go by so he can make a turn or try to back up into the next area. Honestly, I think it's a terrible idea. The fact that there are accidents will always happen. There are inattentive drivers everywhere. Cell phones are tremendous distractions. There will always be accidents. The fact that we'd only have, say, one a month, I think that's remarkable. I think it's great. Why not create a safety campaign to create more awareness for drivers who are traveling in the area? It'd be substantially less expensive than creating these medians. I don't have anything much to say, but I think it's a terrible idea. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's everybody that I've got on the list. Is there anybody else that wanted to come up and speak? Please just give us your name. Thank you.
Short, there we go. I'm Elaine Davidson, business owner, retired again. What nobody else has mentioned here that I think is very important, you're going to have traffic diverted on Sheridan Avenue and on Sugarland, which will take semi-trucks, cars, everybody, past a school and past a retirement home that's behind on Sugarland. I want to know how ambulances and fire trucks are going to maneuver around the traffic when there is an accident or a health cause. You know, where are they going to go whenever it's all stopped up? How are they supposed to get to people in a timely manner? They can't jump a median. And with the grade school, the majority of those kids walk to school. They're not on school buses at Caffeine. Same thing, all of us have seen elderly people walking around their homes and maybe going to Walmart on the residential for the seniors back there. You're asking for trouble on that. So I wanted to point those 2 items out, not just for the businesses, but for the citizens. Thank you.
All right, last call. Anybody else? Okay. I know that YDOT had made some changes after our meeting with them at the YDOT offices. And I know there's been some changes since then. And with comments today, I have a few other questions for YDOT. And I don't know how the body would feel to be able to table this letter until we've been able to see this last public meeting and see the final designs.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just my 2 cents on that. At the last meeting that we had with YDOT, I asked the specific question of Mr. Taylor at the very end, which I appreciate him coming today. I asked, any further public comment or changes, is there any option for not doing the barriers at all? Or is any further public comment just going to be tweaking the barriers? And he very clearly told me this was tweaking the barriers. This is an objection to the entire median project. If this goes through, I certainly will be attending the public comment or the public meeting that's going to be happening on the 27th, because whatever comes out, I want it to be the best for this community. I don't think tabling this is the right answer.
That's right.
Good. I'd look for a motion then.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Arzi.
I move to approve and authorize the chair to sign the formal objection letter to the proposed replacement of parts of Brundage Lane / Coffee Avenue Center Lane with concrete medium barriers.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Madam Chair, first of all, I would say that I know that this body is aware, but we have no decision making. Some of the comments made were like, we were the ones doing this road, and we are not. Well, this is not a county road. This is a city, this is a YDOT road, and it's in the city of Sheridan. So all that this is, obviously, I hope you understand, is a letter of objection. Every individual that spoke today needs to send them a letter of objection if you object, because volume means more than just us writing a letter of objection. If they get a large volume of letters, they may do something. I just got an invitation yesterday to the public meeting that Commissioner Jennings just spoke about, and people need to attend those public meetings and stress their objections. But my point is this. My father was an engineer for YDOT for 35 years, okay? And here is what my father would tell me today, God rest his soul, and I miss him dearly. He'd tell me, what business do you, who has an agricultural degree and a business degree, have telling YDOT engineers what to do? And I would stress that same thing. YDOT has engineers, the city has an engineer, the city has a public works department, and I think that YDOT and the city need to sit down and work this out. I think that all the people here need to write their letters, stress their letters. But personally, the county has enjoyed a very good working relationship with YDOT. We do lots of projects with YDOT, and I will not be in favor of this because I do support the engineers that have engineered it, and I don't feel like I know more than they do. Thank you. Say whatever you
Okay,
want.
no,
You actually don't,
conflict of
because you have to
interest.
come.
Ma'am,
How do I have a conflict
Okay,
of
Nick.
interest?
pardon
I'll
me.
talk to you afterward. if you
Okay.
really want me to.
Excuse me. Please. Right, let's have some decorum here. We've been doing so well lately, this morning so far. If folks have something to say, you have to come to the microphone. We've already got a motion and a second. Public comment period is over. And I guess I'll just reiterate, I want to go to that public meeting and see what changes have been made. So I don't feel good about approving this today, so. All right,
Madam Chair.
yes, Commissioner Wright?
Yeah, without saddling a dead horse and trying to ride it, I do have a couple problems with the idea of delivery trucks trying to gain access. I know that's gonna be a problem. I look forward to seeing what the engineers will do to alleviate some of that. Also, I've always had a problem with snow removal. Snow removal now, as someone has already said, goes to the center lane and then they pick it up and remove it when they get to it. If we had some snow, I would happily take it right now that if we had a big snowstorm right after this was all implemented, I don't know where the snow's supposed to go or how it's going to be removed. Once again, I think the engineers will come up with some solutions on that and working with the city. But I'm probably going to be against this letter today.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes, Commissioner Arzi.
I would speak in favor of this letter of, and the number one reason I think that sticks in my head is a newspaper article that I just read recently in an interview. It came from Oil City News, and it was an interview with the director of IDOT. And the man was saying that they are $600 million in arrears, and it's going worse and worse. And they've got to do something in order to catch up. This project, in my opinion, is an unneeded and unnecessary project where they could take that money for that center medium and put it someplace where it really is needed. Yes, Coffeen Street, if you look at it or drive it, you know that it needs milled up and relaid and asphalt. But there are so many other projects that are on the back burner. And then we see something like this coming in that I do not feel as a single warrant in its favor. And so I'm going to be voting in favor of this letter today.
Okay. Madam Chair,
Yeah, Commissioner Jennings.
as the individual who brought this, you know, this is near and dear to my heart because of what I hear from the public. I've not heard a single person that is in favor of this. And if we're not listening to the public, I mean, that's what we're here for. I'm gonna push back a little bit, very gently on Commissioner Siddle and his comments. You know, I'm not an engineer either, but I can read documents. And what I read through these documents are the signal lights. The intervals are not right. The crash data is showing a decrease already. The timing signal, or not, I'm sorry, not the timing, but medians versus no build conditions, the changes between 2042 for with and without, you're actually talking about longer wait times to put in those medians. More congestion, more issues with can our emergency services get to somebody who's in need in time? Our business is going to have the liability of having people coming through their property, not only liability, but the construction costs and the maintenance. Is the city going to be able to deal with this snowplow? Or sorry, not the snowplow, the snow in the middle. What are they going to do? There's so many issues. And so I think that we have to listen to what the public is saying and vote in favor of it.
Okay, so at this point, we've got a motion and a second. I think we're all done discussing. All those in favor of the formal objection letter signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion fails. And I look forward to getting some more information from WIDOT at their public meeting. Number 11 is to consider a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Health, Public Health Division, and Sheridan County with supporting documents. And I'll call on Heidi Smith, our nurse manager. Might give folks a minute, Heidi. Sorry.
Y'all are very quiet people.
Oh,
God's
thank you.
gonna punish
Thank you
y'all.
so much.
I know you so well.
Thank you so much.
You won't. You can vote now. You can vote.
Thanks, Heidi. Good morning. Chairwoman Haswell, commissioners, as mentioned in a previous meeting, I just come today requesting a signature on the MOU or Memorandum of Understanding between Wyoming Department of Health, Public Health Division, and Sheridan County for 26 to 28. And this includes the public health statement of work as well as maternal child health statement of work. Okay. Any questions for Heidi?
Madam Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Jennings.
Heidi, thank you for being here today. Just a question, I don't know if you've got this in front of you or not, but on page 3 of attachment A, I'm sorry to the rest of you, that's after the first 12 pages into the first 8 pages.
Okay.
Everybody get there?
Commissioner Jennings, can you repeat that?
Yes,
Page 3?
so if you're on attachment A, which is
Oh,
right after
okay.
the first 12 pages,
The public
and then the
health
first
statement of work.
8
Okay.
pages, yeah. On page 3 of that, all the way down at the bottom, 5, agency responsibilities, adding the leading programs. My question, because it says the agency will work collaboratively with the commissioners, gather input and recommendations when considering the addition or deletion of programs and when making staffing decisions. My question is, how long has it been since, or have we ever, as commissioners, looked at the programs to say, yes, this is working great, we need to continue with it, or no, this is not working as we wished it would, maybe we should delete this portion?
I do not know that information off the top of my head. I have been in public health about 6 years and it hasn't happened to my knowledge. I've been in Sheridan County a little over 3, so
The state has, even in this MOU, eliminated a couple programs that weren't working. So they actively look at that stuff, what's working, what's beneficial. And that was one of the bigger changes between the previous MOU and this one is they deleted the children's special health program. Because most of that is covered under Medicaid. So that we were trying to do that program, but it wasn't enough benefit for the people, so. But as far as county commissioners, I'm not aware, I don't know.
So statewide, it's been done, but not locally.
Correct.
For this.
Any other questions for Heidi? If not, I'd look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve and authorize the chair to sign the MOU between Wyoming Department of Health, Public Health Division and Sheridan County with supporting documents.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner. Gerald.
based on my question, I would like at some point, maybe I recognize that this is for a 2-year document contract, but I think it's important for us to maybe locally take a look as commissioners and say, hey, is this program working here? So if Heidi is open to that, certainly we can.
I think that's a great idea. I'm always open to talking about what our programs are doing and how we're benefiting the community. So if we sat down as a group to do that, I would actually really appreciate that.
Okay, so, all right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Heidi. Item 12, consider the MOU between the University of Wyoming and the Board of County Commissioners, Sheridan County of Oklahoma. Cameron Duff.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, good morning. This MOU is an extension or the old one expired in 26, so it was a 4-year period. This is extending it for another 4-year period through June 30th, 2030. This is dealing with the extension office, what the roles the commissioners have, what the role the university has. Unfortunately, I don't believe anyone. Oh, you do.
Got a couple.
So they may be able to speak a little bit more towards their portion of it, but from my perspective, it's pretty much just extending the 4 years.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Gretchen Gaspar-Kelso. I'm the interim county coordinator for Sheridan County at the time. I'm presently the 4-H educator in Bighorn County. And we also have Danelle Peck. She's the associate director for extension.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about extension for the MOU?
Not for the MOU. I'm just curious. I've had some questions about why we don't have a county agent.
So you do. You have a 4-H educator who is Zach, and you also have a CVH educator who is Larissa. The process of the extension is both of them are relatively new, and so they have a somewhat seasoned educator be the interim coordinator for a small period of time, and then one of them will be assigned those duties.
Of a county agent?
As the county
Because I know
coordinator.
Johnson County has one, but Sheridan County has not.
So when you refer to a county agent, are you referring to as an ag agent?
Yes.
Okay, so that is something that came prize through conversations with the extension director as well as the commissioners at the time. And if that's something like they share, what Micah Most is the A&R educator in that area. And he comes and does project programming here. And so the community health and vitality is somewhat of a new initiative through extension. And Sheridan County was one of the counties that was chosen to fill that.
Okay. I guess I've just heard from members of the public feeling like we're kind of missing out and those folks get busy and they can't get over here for training. So maybe some more discussion in the future about that and maybe there isn't a need and maybe it's, I don't know if you have any thoughts, Danielle, sorry to put you on the spot.
No, thank you. Danelle Peck, Associate Director for Extension in Laramie, based out of Laramie. I would just say that long ago, Extension had a large enough budget to be able to have multiple agents in a county covering 4-H, ag and natural resources, community, and as those budgets, both at all levels, federal, state, and county, those budgets have shrank. We've had to pare back on how many agents we can afford to have in each county. So we do. We have about an equal number of ag and natural resource
educators and community vitality and health educators. And they're placed across the state based on the needs that we hear locally. But as Grady indicated, needs change. And so we're always open to revisiting and discussing. Another option that some counties have exercised is to bring monies to the table to hire a local horticulture coordinator at either a part-time level or a full-time. So I just wanted to put that as an additional option that some counties have exercised.
Thank you. All right, do we have any other questions? If not, I'd look for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
I move to approve and authorize the chair to sign the MOU with the University of Wyoming to formalize the relationship between the two entities for extension programs.
Second.
A motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate you being here. All right, item 13 is consider resolution 26-05051. Notice of intent to vacate a portion of the alley between Block 3 and Block 4 in the town of Lador subdivision in unincorporated Story, Wyoming. And I'll call on Ken Muller, County Engineer.
Hey, good morning, Madam Chair, Ken Muller, County Engineer. You received a petition a while back, and what you, the viewer on this, the petition is requesting to vacate a small little portion of the alley platted by this old subdivision in the town of Lador. It's kind of in the center. I hope I did a good job kind of showing where it's located in that subdivision. It's a full width of a 40-foot alley between two lots, and then half the width between adjacent to another lot. The alley's never been constructed. I can see it's full of brush and trees and fences and miscellaneous personal property, and even it appears that a couple outbuildings kind of encroach into the 40-foot right away, especially in this area that they're looking to vacate. So from a practical sense, use as an alley, it can, proceed to the notice of intent. I don't feel you'll see a lot of damage claims. Do want to note that it will cut off future access to lots to the east. This vacation was approved, and so you might see maybe those individuals come forward and possibly claim damage that they will have no access to their back of their lot, but they don't.
But access to the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Any questions for Ken? Don't hear any, I look for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to adopt and authorize the chair to sign resolution 26-05-051, notice of intent to vacate a portion of alley between Block 3 and Block 4 in town of Lador subdivision in unincorporated Story, Wyoming, located in the south one half of section 8, township 53 north, range 83 west.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Robert, thanks for hanging in. Item 14 is to consider the revised application for federal assistance to acquire new snow removal equipment. Mr. Gill, Airport Manager, good morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Robert Gill, Sheridan County Airport Manager. This revised application requests airport infrastructure funding to acquire new snow removal equipment loader with a plow attachment for use on airport aprons and related pavement areas. The revised application reflects the final project amount needed for work based on the lowest responsive bid received. After the project scope was approved by the state and FAA, and while specifications were being developed for the design manual, it was determined that the originally proposed loader size was undersized. The initial grant application cost estimates were based on that smaller loader. The airport received support from the state and FAA to bid a more appropriate sized loader that better matches the airport's needs and operational use. On May 18th, the Aeronautics Commission allocated the required matching funds needed to complete this project. This revised application reflects the total amount requested from the FAA. Final cost split is $514,655 from the FAA, $13,544 from YDOT Aeronautics, and $13,544 from the fiscal year 2026-2027 airport capital improvement budget, which together would cover the low bid amount, engineering costs and administrative expenses. Therefore, I respectfully recommend the Sheridan Board of County Commissioners approve and authorize the chairwoman to sign the application for federal assistance. That would stand for any questions.
Any questions for Robert? Commissioner Arce, you look ready?
Madam Chair, I move to approve and authorize the chair to sign the revised application for federal assistance to acquire new snow equipment.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we are adjourned at 10:15. We do have budget meetings. We might take a 15-minute break, if that's okay with everybody. Be back here at 10:30.